Andrew, one more thing. Andrew, can you pull up that stat? Because you said something about a mother knows best. I'm glad you said that. I seen a stat, if I'm not mistaken. They said that a single father and his provision, and how he cares about his kid, has been proven to be equivalent to a 2-parent household or better. So do women really know best?
You take one study and you think that's supposed to represent all men and women in the world?
I know a lot of good fathers. I know a lot of goofy ass mothers.
One sec. Go ahead, Andrew.
I also know a lot of people that don't have dads.
One sec. Go ahead, Andrew.
I'll explain this stat from both.
Plenty of men that leave their families
and women, and they got mad kids.
And it's way more. It's way more men that's leaving their families.
I'll get you guys in. Go ahead, Andrew.
So here's the stat on this. So he's right that generally speaking, so it used to be that there was a default in the court that children basically always went with the mother. As that has decreased, as more and more fathers have been awarded custody, we've been able to do some longitudinal studies on the outcomes of children who are raised in a single mother household versus a single father household. And it is true that the outcomes for children in a single father household do much better. This is not due to income. This is due to the fact that your rates significantly increase by bringing additional men into a children's life who's not the father. Women do this. However, the case is that men, when they bring females into the life of children, they're not much of a physical threat to the children because the father can do something about it. So ultimately, yes, stepdads, the abuse rates go up. It's not that most stepdads are abusive. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the abuse rates do go up. And promiscuous women, the abuse rates significantly go up. So yes, single father households tend to have much better results and outcomes regardless of the socioeconomic status.
And that's just based off information on that one study? Like, that's my question.
Okay.
No, it's multiple studies. So these are multiple longitudinal studies which go over this. And so there's other things too. There's some factors for women here, like for instance, the fact that there's way more women who have custody of their children, right? You would think that the numbers would be reduced for men because now we have a much higher pool. So then we kind of break that down per capita. So what we do when we dive in is we find this, that when you bring strange men around your kids, the chances that your kids get abused go significantly up, right? Because you can't do much about it. You can't do much about it. Men can do something about it. So if men are in, and these are other studies which show this, if men are in relationships with women and they begin abuse of the children, men put a stop to it very, very, very quickly. Women don't often do that. So these are dependent situations, but men, it does seem that their kids have better outcomes if they're single men than single women.
And it seems like men pick better mates when they have children than women do, in my opinion.
Well, I don't know if they pick better mates, but they can just
from what I've seen in my life. I ain't got the data.
They can just physically do something about it, right? Women don't have this force option. They can't be like, stop abusing my kid or else. Men can do that. They can just walk over and, you know what I mean? Like, they have this kind of nuclear option on force that women don't have, which puts women at this big disadvantage if they're going to be single and raising kids.
But Andrew, that still speaks to the type of man she picked too, though, because every man is not abusive. So if you're picking a guy that is a threat to your kids, doesn't that say something about your evaluation of a man?
Most step parents are not abusive. That's not what I'm saying.
No, I agree.
Most step parents are not abusive. It's just that the rates of abuse significantly increase the second you have other men who are not the biological father. Like, for instance, you're in the abusive home with your biological parents. It's an abusive home. You're actually less likely to die in that abusive home than if the state takes you out of that abusive home. Like, that's how crazy these stats are when it comes to paternal instinct. And it's like, this is across the board. So you never want to it's really easy to be like, that means no step parents. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying
I'm not saying that.
I have to move things on. I mean, just to finish up on this whole traditional thing, when it came to the last name, the conversation that you and me were having, and you're dating a traditional guy, if you guys are engaged, it's over. I hope you understand that.
That's fine. If that's the basis of it, then it wasn't meant to be, and that person doesn't know me.
Bro, this girl's throwing away a traditional man because she wants to be. She wants a traditional man. She claims to be a traditional woman, but she won't even do the traditional thing of, this is the tradition.
I'm not saying I won't take it, and I think in the beginning I did state, if it's somebody I said, okay, I'm going to marry you.
A traditional guy, but if you're going to be submissive, do you want to be submissive to your husband?
I am submissive to my husband, or to my husband, to my partner.
How would you be submissive if he's like, this is my decision on this? That's the end of the conversation.
It's conditional submission.
No, she wants to nag and have like multiple.
I'm
No, hold on.
Not nagging. I think
This is lit. You want to have like numerous conversations about this and nag and hope that he finally relents in his position that he wants you to take the last name. This is all the conversation that needs to happen.
No, it's a thorough thing. I want
No,
to
I don't
go through.
I don't need to
I don't know what comes with
justify-
your last name. I don't know what you got going on in your family history and stuff like
we're
that.
engaged.
Also.
We're engaged.
What
You
does
should
it-
know me by now.
Who cares? In fact, you have a great last name. Let's say the last name in this situation
Yeah, what if it
sucks.
doesn't go with my name? Yeah.
No, how about everything is great with his past? I don't know what that has to do. Everything is great in his past, but he has like a kind of bad sounding last name. Do you want to keep your last name?
It would have to really depend on how much I love that person, how much I
Really?
like want to get married to them.
You already agreed to.
You obviously love the guy.
If I already said yes and it was a conversation we already had and I'm like, yes, I'm already marrying you, I've already said yes to that, I'm going to probably most likely take your name.
No.
But prior
Most
to me
likely.
saying yes,
I
prior
don't
to me
want a
saying
most
yes to
likely.
marry you,
Most likely
if
I'll
I'm
never
saying yes
divorce
to
you.
marrying you,
Most likely.
we're already at the establishment I'm
hold on,
taking the
hold on.
last
Go ahead,
name.
go ahead.
Well, if I'm already saying yes to marrying you, I've probably already established we're taking the last name, right? But prior to me saying yes to marry you, we need to have this conversation on, I need you to understand my placement, how I feel about my last name, and can we have that conversation?
How many
And then
times
if
do we
you're
have to
like,
have- how
and
many
then
times
if
do we
you're,
have to have
if
the
in that conversation, you're like,
Watch. We
no,
already
I'm
have-
strict. I want you to have my last name, and that's what it's going to
It
be.
shouldn't even be a conversation. You should just be like,
Well, unfortunately, we live in
this is
modern days. And
cool.
That's,
Pay for your own shit until we're married.
I do.
I'm never going to protect you. I'm never going to open the car door. You can do all that shit.
okay, then I'm also not going to clean the house. I'm not going to cook for you. I'm not going to take care of you on the other traditional aspects that I'm also supposed to cover if that's going to be how it is.
Cool.
Because I'm over
Perfect.
one traditional thing and I have, a controversy or I look at that a certain way. Now you want to take all the traditional aspects off the table.
That's a big thing, though.
That it is a big thing. That's
I'm putting
why
my
I
life
want to
on the line
have a
for somebody who won't even take my
conversation.
name.
That's why I want to have a conversation about it. Let's talk about it.
What is
You
that-
do, but a man in that position don't.
But what is I don't understand the point of having the conversation. If you met a guy and he's like, yeah, I'm super traditional, and he's like, I want to have a conversation about all the ways in which you expect me to be traditional. He's like, I want to have a conversation about paying for the first date. Bro, I guarantee you if you went on a date with a dude and he's like, babe, I want to have a conversation about who's going to pay for this date, you'd be like, it's over for that dude. You know it. You know it would be over. You'd be like,
I'd be like,
you
what's the
want- hold on.
conversation you want to have about it? Like,
Oh, well,
what's
because
what's going on? Why you want to
modern
talk about
times.
it?
the economy and look, it's just, I would really appreciate if we go like 50-50 on this until we're married.
So if you ask me out on this date and you're like, hey, I want to take you out, that's yours.
Do you ask guys out on dates? Yeah,
I've
that's
asked
a no.
people to go out.
Oh, no. First date.
I've
No,
initiated.
Stop. Not you guys always do this. Oh, the boyfriend I've been seeing for 3 months, I asked him out to lunch. No, first dates.
Okay, first
You guys are
date,
Not a friend of yours.
it's not a thing. That's not really a thing
You don't
that
do
I've
it.
had to experience
Exactly.
or
So
I've
who
tried
cares?
to experience.
Who cares?
But I will take my man out. I'm going to go take
No,
him
we're
on
not
an
talking
example.
about my
Only
man.
talking
No, we're talking about
first.
initial.
Congrats. The guy's been paying for 3 months, and then you'll take him out once to fucking McDonald's. Congratulations.
Well, to
such a
use a
provider.
guy,
Don't eat
to use a guy's
McDonald's.
analogy here,
I hate
he's used many of my arguments. I think I'll steal one of his for a change. Let me just ask you this directly. This is Myron Gaines has said this in the past. It's actually a pretty worthy question. Would you date a super flamboyant and sassy man who promises that he'll be a traditional man for the right woman, but he needs a few dates to make sure that you're the one?
Corn and tobacco addict.
Pretty good.
I mean, I feel like it takes a few days to see the person in general, right?
Listen to the rest of the question.
Oh, go.
Would you date a super flamboyant, sassy man who promises that he'll be traditional for the right woman, but he needs to test you first by going on a few dates with you?
And paying like 50-50?
Money answers all things. They pay. It's all good, right?
No, I feel like actions speak louder because you can come off flamboyant, you can come off certain things, but then in those dates that we're getting to know each other, you can show me that traditional rather than saying it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna
Super
show
flamboyant.
you, like.
I
So
think
you would actually take a flamboyantly sassy man and
have,
tell
and it didn't
him
go well.
that one day maybe he would decide he would be traditional for you if you were worthy of it, and he needed to test you first. You would really do that?
Like I said, you see along those dates if that person is really traditional or not, or super flamboyant. And halfway through, and I'm like, okay, now it's too sassy for me. No tradition whatsoever. Yeah, then I'm out of there. But you don't know anything.
I like a little sass.
I bet you do. The only reason y'all like a little sass because you know a little sass means you can control them a little bit. Yeah, that's about it.
No.
Yeah. Do y'all agree with this statement, fellas?
I like my men a little emotional.
Well, we had the conversation. Do y'all agree with this, fellas? I feel like modern women will sacrifice being happy to be right, while men will sacrifice being right to be happy.
I don't know.
How about this one?
Maybe.
Men will sacrifice their happiness for their family. Women will sacrifice their family for their happiness.
No, I know a lot of women. I know women.
You just threw away a good guy because your last name.
There are good guys in the world. There are godly men out there that will freaking be willing to take that conversation with me.
Yeah.
But I know women who stayed in unhealthy, toxic relationships that they hate and they didn't want to be in and were very depressed to keep the family together.
Yep.
And they're like this small ass list. You always want to find these anomalies
Again with
to
the
make
small
y'all
list,
point.
but you saying there's nothing.
No, I
Be like, I know somebody that did that. On me, I had an aunt.
You know him too. Who you from?
L.A.
Eggs. You please come on now.
No,